Hey guys, it's Matt from Team Overdrive. Just doing a deck profile from this weekend's UK regionals up at Huddersfield. I opted to play Blasters at the last minute. Been fairly set on playing Blade Wings, but decided about 12 hours before the event that I really couldn't do it and I needed to try something different. And I set about trying to do something different with the deck than just the standard. So fairly standard starter wise, Wingal Brave, it hits, or boosts something that hits, and you get to search for a blaster. It's really good for covering your grade 2 and grade 3 rides if you don't have them, or if you want a second copy of something for another particular reason. So all standard. I am not playing Margal, I'm playing Elaine as my heal trigger. It's not that I don't like Margal, I don't necessarily ever use the effect, and I was quite happy using Elaine, so all good. Fairly standard again, obviously for Flogal, star of the deck, lets Blaster-Friend hit more than once, or certainly tries to hit more than once, but really useful, so that's fine. I originally was going to play 10 and 2. I opted at the last minute with a friend, sort of theorising that I was going to play 4. I wanted more draw, and I wanted to make sure that the soul had the opportunity to always be full if I needed it for Lien's. The other choice, it's obviously for more pressure, is still keeping it crits, but was to play Arongal, which obviously can go into the soul, give something 3k, fairly nice effect, especially when you want to pump up a Blaster-Blade. Grade 1 choices then is, obviously for Blaster-Friend Barcgal. Barcgal gets put in front of it with a blaster and you get to unflip. Boost a Llew and you get a 19k column. It's just an all-round nice card, so 4 of. I am playing for Lien. I originally remember reading the card and not rating it at all. As soon as I picked up 4, I realised that it was most definitely the optimal PG. You do get to keep your soul pretty easily, and to not lose a second card from hand is absolutely perfect. Playing just 3 stride fodder. I'm playing 7 grade 3s, so I didn't think 4 was necessarily needed, so I dropped to 1. And then my remaining grade 1 choices are 2 Wingal Youth. Again, it's early pressure. It's really nice to get your opponent to have to guard maybe, it as a rear guard at your first turn. That's really nice. Or a consequent boost, on another turn. So 2 of those. My last choice is 1 Blaster Rapier Laurel. I originally was going to play 2. It's what I dropped the 4th stride fodder for. Laura's really good if you can get it as your grade 1 rider, have a Barcgal. She's really good because she's got resist. I just thought as a one-off there was no issue playing it, and you'll see why again shortly. Grade 2s, so I'm playing 4 Blaster Blades. Unfortunately only 2 of the Legend deck ones, 2 of the Trial deck ones that I've always had. Standard obviously 4. And then I am playing for Llew. For Llew, obviously Llew goes into the soul. It's really good with either Flogal for a 16k, or as I said earlier, a Barcgal for a 19k. Into the soul, call a Blaster-Blade, plus 3k. Thanks very much. I am playing 2 Star Hope. Star Hope's there to pick up, if I've not managed to pick up myself, a Royal Paladin Flogal, or I can call anything I need, anything that's going to help. Really useful. I'm playing a 1-off Blaster-Blade Spirit, in case for whatever reason I've damaged all 4 Blaster-Blades or can't get them back into the deck with a grade 3 Llew, whatever it might be. And then obviously this reveals it all, but I'm playing a Swordsman of Light, Larousse. Larousse, for those who don't know, is 2 cards from your hand into the soul. When it's placed on rear guard, if you've got an Alfred Vanguard, you can search your deck for 2 high beasts. 2 high beasts obviously being 2 Flogals. Gets you an extra 2 out. So okay, it's 2 cards from the hand. It's the other reason I'm playing slightly more draws. And obviously this, gives a bit of a hint then for what I'm doing grade 3 wise. So my grade 3 lineup is 4 Blaster-Blade Exceed. It's brilliant. You can retire something, a grade 1, for Counterblast. With Ganz you can now recall that Counterblast, which is fantastic. It just Blaster engine wise, there's no reason to not play it. I'm playing one of New Style Blaster Llew. It gets me a Blaster Blade, back to the bottom of the deck, and it gets 5k for that turn. Even if you don't boost it, it's a 16k grade 3 rearguard. Really good. If not, Stride Fodder, fine. And then, so 2 evenings before Nationals, I said that I wasn't comfortable going into a Nationals without any potential way to counter Link Joker. Now, okay, this doesn't allow me overall to counter Link Joker, but looking at what this card does, there are absolutely no drawbacks to it being your ride instead of a Blaster Blade Exceed. Okay, you ride Alfred Oath, you Counterblast your Soul Blast, you ditch a card from your hand, and you call 2 units. It's a 1 and a 2, or whatever, with Swordsman Light or Blaster in its name. So it gets you potentially a column, a Barcgal and a Blaster Blade, whatever it might be. If you've not got any, you can go into the Laurel. It's just really, really powerful. And I think it was only as my Nationals went on, I was going through the rounds, and I had hoped it would work, and I expected it to work through a bit of testing, but it was gobsmacking at how good it was. There were no drawbacks, and because the stride, the stride zone, or the G zone, sorry, which I'll go into now. The cards have no. You have to have a Blaster Heart. So, what's the problem if you don't get a Blaster Blade Exceed? Well, none really. So grade 4s. So 1 Seabreeze. I always debate, do I want to play it, don't I? But I think in a Nationals event, being able to capitalise on that person not being able to ride to grade 3 is something you try and take advantage of. I am playing 2 Ganslot's. Ganslot's brilliant, as a first ride, an extra card, unflip the Counterblast that you've used, perhaps along the way. Absolutely perfect. I am playing 4 Divine Knight. As I say, it's not, a lot to have a Blaster Vanguard. So, if you're on, as it says, if you have a hard card with Alfred or Blaster in its name, so there's no problem. Absolutely fine. I wanted to counter Link Joker in some way. This, only lets me do it for a turn, but if I've got, the puzzle pieces in my hand and I can make a real big push that turn, then it's worth it. It's also an absolutely fantastic power creep, even if you don't use it against Link Joker. And I always thought if I had to G-assist, they'd be the 2 I'd ditch. Actually, I started to ditch different things. The one time I had to do it, I didn't ditch these, because this adds 2k to each rearguard, and it gets 3k for each rearguard, so it's potentially hitting on its own for 41, and it adds 4k to a rearguard column. If it's got 2 units, it's really, really useful. It's nice for those Blaster Blade turns if you've, perhaps if you've got to the end of your strides for whatever reason during a long game. The one match I did use it, I used it against my friend Kalen. It helped the turn that I did use it. And given part of the reason I had included it was if I ever had to face him, I was quite pleased to for it to have come to fruition, which was good. I'm playing 1 Myriad. I used it once the whole weekend. It's good, it really is good, but I found that I was drawing through my Liens quicker than anything else, and so I needed to be able to use my soul for those. The one difference I was playing Blazing Sword Fillies. Just for that, if I came up against Kagero first, if I could stride first, and I would, be able to use Fillies to unflip Ganz a lot. Massive shout out to Joe, who helped me theorise with all this, but he suggested Merindol, because it still flips something up, so it still flips Ganz a lot up, but the pressure for when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, choose a rearguard, and it gets plus 5k for each face up. If it got to the end, and I think there was one turn where it was going to add 5k for each, and I got 9 flipped up. Stupidly, I forgot to unflip as I went in, into that turn into attacking. Luckily for me, it didn't matter, but was careless of me. But that could potentially have been a really, really powerful Vanguard attack to have to guard against, and then maybe not be able to guard rear guards. G guards then, so I'm playing 1 laser guard. It's still really good. It's a 20k shield with 1 rear guard in the front row. I'm playing 1 dismal. There were turns where I needed to protect if I'd gone through my Blaster Blades quite quickly. I'm playing 1 divine Mascal. That's still a really nice effect. It being 25k, really good. I still like Androgus. You know, okay, there are very few opportunities where you do actually have 2 grade 2s, or someone doesn't try and attack it, but at the same time, it's still really nice. And then I'm playing 1 Marin. I didn't use it as often as I liked, and it tended to be the flip up for Margal. But you know, being able to call a grade 1 a greater and get an extra 5, well, that's quite useful. There were a couple of times where I contemplated using it and then using the Llew, but I wanted the Llew for you know, for my grade 3 rearguard, and to be able to put the blaster back. All in all, I went 7 and 3. So I originally went 5 and 0. Lost the last 2 on day 1, and I lost to a fantastic gear player called Alice. Really nice guy, really nice deck, and I just couldn't keep up. And then I frustratingly lost to Kagero, which just seemed to suggest, you know, you do anything, retire anything. Alfred, MVP of the weekend. I don't think I would have done as well if I didn't play it. You know, certainly for the interactions, as I said, with the Transmigratory, which was really good. But I just found that, you know, I was able to call really, really well off it. You know, most of the time I actually went through and took out the Laura. And a grade 2, you know, there was a couple of times where that ended up being Spirit. There were obviously times where it was a Blaster Blade. You know, if it meant I could, you know, get a strong column in and I got a Flogal in hand, then I would do it. It was really good. But yeah, you know, absolutely brilliant. I think, you know, other things I'd just like to shout out the rest of Team Overdrive. Chris did amazingly well with Shadow Paladin. He's learnt the deck inside out, and you know, it was really good to see him do so well. To Jacob, obviously, who did really well at, you know, also. I think he too has learnt, like me, that a heal trigger in time is the most discouraging thing in the world. But for his first Nats to come top 24, or top 28 even, sorry, you know, it was really, really positive, and for half our team to do the same was really good. I know the guys are also going to put deck profiles up, so you know, make sure you have a look at those, and just subscribe to the channel, and I'm sure I'll put another deck up soon. Cheers guys, bye.